back to Get Up. It is Combine Week. Be ready for a deluge of NFL news. And we start there with George Pickens, who is a franchise tag candidate for the Cowboys after having career highs in catches, yards, and touchdowns in his one season with Dallas. VP of Personnel Stephen Jones was in front of reporters yesterday at the Combine in Indy, and they asked him about Pickens. Take a listen.
Pickens, of course, leaning toward the franchise tag. We'll finalize that here over the coming week or 10 days, and then we'll go from there. We want Pickens here. Think the world of him. Want him here, love him, and I think he wants to be here. So all that's a plus. A lot of guys who we've tagged, participated in everything. Dak leading the way, and he played under two of them, so he never missed anything. Hopefully that'll be the case here.
They in Dallas love using Dak as this, Dak did it. You should do it too. Dak did it. I go to Dominique Foxworth here. If you're George Pickens and his representation, should you be open to the franchise tag, or is this a holdout in the making?
Yeah, whether he's open to it or not, it sounds like it's going to get pinned to him. Given how he produced last year, I'd be really hesitant to want to sign up for the franchise tag. He gave you number one level receiver numbers, and I think he will want to use that leverage to get this money right now. But I think that obviously the Cowboys would argue that they just paid someone else to that position, and George Pickens is a little less proven because he's only done it for 1 year. But at points last year, it felt like he was the true number one, and you don't get too many opportunities to get paid. So I hope he uses that leverage to get it done, but it seems like it's an uphill battle for him.
Yeah, when Stephen Jones says it so plainly like that, it's likely happening. So what's your reaction if you're Pickens, the player?
I'll pick up right where Nick left off. If you're George Pickens, I was in Pittsburgh. You made this trade to bring me over with this in mind, with me to have this type of season, coming over with a quarterback like Dak Prescott, with an example like CeeDee Lamb on the other side, for me to come and show the talents that I have. George Pickens did that. You would think the process was we trade for him, we bring him over, he produces, we give him the contract that he's earned. So if you're George Pickens, the hell with the 1 year, with all of the stuff, red flags, you want to talk about what's happened in Pittsburgh. I did my year in Dallas. I did what I was asked to do. I want to be paid as such. I would understand that, him wanting and asking for the long-term deal.
It's fair. Nick, we go to this entire roster, though, and the Cowboys missed the playoffs. It's not up to their standard. What would be your top priority for Dallas, offense or defense, this offseason?
Yeah, that's a layup of a question. It's obviously defense. Their defense was really bad for much of the season. We all convinced ourselves that they figured it out midway through. Then they fell apart once again. The defense needs a ton of help. I think the offense is pretty set up. And George Pickens, I think back to that point, it's just that if I were him, I'd say, what more would you want me to do? What more do I have to prove given what he's produced? But maybe he has to play some safety or corner on the other side to help him out on that side of the ball. They would pay him then.
I mentioned this is going to be a deluge of sports news from the Combine. This is what's going to happen. Every 10 minutes over the next few days, you're going to get a headline about something because everyone's talking. So let's do something we call Run the Hurry Up. Nick, we start with you. The Falcons plan to place the franchise tag on tight end Kyle Pitts. Do we believe his new head coach, Kevin Stefanski, can get this offense with 4 top 10 players on offense going in a new direction and get the Falcons going?
Absolutely. That's why they brought Kevin Stefanski in, I would think, is to solidify this offense. They have tons of weapons. We all know that the quarterback situation is not as stable or solidified as they want it to be, but the weapons are there, and you have a quarterback-centric head coach. Then the point is, he's supposed to get the offense running. The defense got better. They're bringing back Ulbrich to manage defense, and I think, Stefanski needs to get the offense going. Otherwise, what is he doing there?
Okay, J-Mac, your thoughts on the Falcons?
I look at that, and I'm with Nick. Yes, they have all the weapons around them. The biggest question mark is the quarterback position.
Who's throwing them the ball?
Michael Penix is coming off of an injury. You look at Stefanski in his time in Cleveland, where they tried to go out and get veteran quarterbacks. Flacco had some success, but there was a lot of times there without that quarterback piece, it didn't matter what was outside of it. So that's going to be the biggest question mark for the Atlanta Falcons. Stefanski has proven that he's had success. Maybe they get Kirk Cousins, they release him and get a chance to bring him back, and he gets to run that offense.
Speaking of quarterback, one of the most curious situations is in Indianapolis. J-Mac, should the Colts sign Daniel Jones to a long-term deal You know he's coming off the injury.
I'm going to say yes. There are a lot of caveats and variables to this situation. One, you look at the head coach Shane Steichen and general manager Chris Ballard. They're both going into a year where they're going to be expected to win. If not, don't know how much longer they're going to be there. I would want Daniel Jones, but it has to come at the right price tag with him going through injury and the way that season kind of tailed off last year.
All right, Nick, your thoughts on Daniel Jones?
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice. I don't know where the other answers are going to come from. I know they still have Anthony Richardson on the roster, and maybe that'll be an option, but they made their bed when they traded for Sauce Gardner. This team is going in for a championship right now, and if they don't have an answer at that position, the best answer they've had in quite some time in that position was a healthy Daniel Jones. So I think, yeah, they might get him at a discount coming off the injury, but he's their quarterback. He's their only chance, I think, to make a run in the playoffs, and to J-Mac's point, save some jobs.
All right, you saw me throw that yellow flag into the commercial last break. The NFL Competition Committee is reportedly discussing the possibility of authorizing replay officials to throw flags for specific penalties, with the example being this altercation in the Super Bowl. This is Stephon Diggs and Job, the cornerback. The replay official could go back and throw a flag is what's being proposed. Look at this punch here. Hello. We start with Neek. Neek, do you like the idea of the replay official up in the booth being able to say, wait a second, there was a flag, going back in time and reviewing it?
I mean, I just hope it doesn't slow the game down. Like, I get it. Normally we have, like, dramatic rule changes or additions like this after something wild happens in a game and it costs some team a win. So then we go and change it. They're doing it a little preemptively, which is fine with me, but it hasn't felt like it was a big problem. I'd be pretty annoyed if we have to sit around and wait for them to determine who threw the first punch. Just throw the flag, administer the penalty, and keep it moving.
J-Mac?
I agree with Nick, and there's a part of me that I remember growing up with a twin brother. There were times that I might punch him or push him, and mom's not looking, and I get a chance to get away with it. I kind of like that.
That's a
being
win.
a part of sports.
Reward
Yes.
that.
Like, you know, the little stuff you do, the little shove and all of those things. If the ref missed the first one, that throws out the old adage. It's always the second guy that gets caught. I don't want the replay to come out and catch the first guy. No, it's not supposed to go down that way. I don't like it.
My big picture take, the NFL's got a lot of issues. This one, it's not one of them. I don't know if we need it. Nick Sirianni had a gaggle of reporters at the Combine in front of him, and he told Tim McManus from ESPN that there's interest between A.J. Brown and the team to continue the career of Philly for A.J. Brown, but neither he nor general manager Howie Roseman committed to suiting up Brown for the team next season. Look at this. Speaking of the Combine, this is what he had. Yeah, my expectation is he wants to be here, right? And obviously, you want good players like that in your building. Will A.J. be here next season? I think we're still in a spot. Like, I can't guarantee how anything is going to go play out next season. I'm thinking I'm going to be the coach next season, but you can't guarantee anything past tomorrow. Sometimes it's the things you don't say that are most intriguing. We've got Jason McCourty here, Dominique Foxworth on the screen. Nick, we're going to start with you. That reaction from Sirianni, he could have taken it a lot of ways. Yeah. What was your take from that quote that we got yesterday at the Combine?
Right, it feels like there's definitely something there. Like, we've been dissecting this team for the past 2 years, and one thing that's always been constant, even when they've had success, is that A.J. Brown has had an interesting relationship with this team. And it's not because they don't want to give him the ball and they don't want to target him. Like, he got targeted plenty of times last year and the year before that when they won the Super Bowl. But the numbers weren't there, and it always seemed like a little bit of discomfort in that relationship. So I think when you know that you're going to have a guy, no one's even asking the question. And when the question's asked, you roll your eyes and say, obviously, he's going to be back. The fact that the response was what the response that we got makes me believe that it's probably getting close to the end. If they can find a suitable place to send A.J. Brown, it seems like they probably would be open to making that move.
All right, let me just set the stage here. So basically at the Combine, you've got every coach, you've got every GM, they're walking around. And in this case, all the Philly reporters got Nick Sirianni. He's speaking right there. It wasn't a polished podium situation. Yeah. But he could have taken this a lot of different ways when they brought up A.J. Brown. Your reaction, Jason?
The one thing Nick said, A.J. Brown is under contract for this upcoming season. So Sirianni could have simply just said, hey, A.J. Brown's under contract. I expect for him to be a Philadelphia Eagle. You don't know what the future is going to hold. But he didn't say that. I will also add that he said, we want A.J. I like A.J. Brown. I want him here. I believe A.J. Brown wants to be here. He said those words. So I don't want to look at this and dismiss the fact that there is still a lot of love between A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles. But when you go on to talk about the future of the team, you say, I expect to be the head coach. Sirianni's going to be the head coach this season. There's an opportunity for teams to look at this and say, you know what? Let's make our best offer to get A.J. Brown in our building, because to me, that just signaled, hey, we're open for business if the right offer comes across.
I'm going to double back with you. 17 different people interviewed for that offensive coordinator job. Yeah. 7 of them had second interviews, and they chose Sean Mannion, a 32-year-old quarterbacks coach who has never called a play. Would you at least give that a shot before you start talking about putting A.J. Brown on the block?
I would. That would be my thought process. You look at this Eagles team, they're loaded. They still have a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball, from Saquon Barkley to Devontae Smith. Having A.J. Brown there is still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, only helps them move forward as an offense. And I think, to your point, the new beginnings. Let him develop a relationship with Sean Mannion and see where they can take this offense.
Neek, let's open it up a little bit. Let's say, for example, and we don't have proof of this yet, that they were to put A.J. Brown on the block. Yeah. Which team do you think would be most hungry and most thirsty to get him into the building?
Yeah, it's all of them, but I think the obvious names that come up is teams that are close and could use a weapon right away, and that's immediately the Bills, and I think the Patriots come up too. A team that needs their true number one, that already has a quarterback in place that can get him the ball, that's looking to get over the hump. So A.J. Brown would be perfect for any of those teams that feel like they're right on the doorstep but need a little punch offensively to get it done.
What about you?
Absolutely. I'll go on the other conference, and I'll look at a team like Green Bay, a team like the 49ers, teams that they have weapons, they have guys out there. But if you place a guy like A.J. Brown on one side of the field, it dictates defenses. And now they have to figure out, are we doubling them? Are we putting a guy over the top? Those type of situations help a quarterback and allows him to really go out there and flourish.
All right, for some context at home, at the Combine, most coaches and GMs speak at the podium in a more formal environment. That will happen today for both Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, so don't worry. We will get plenty more on this. But A.J. Brown's name, it wasn't a quick out-of-hand dismissal by Nick Sirianni. He did have some things to say, and that does open the door for conversation. Let's stay in the NFC.